a collaborative effort by visiting artists that come to the Gibbes Museum of Art. Well, let's welcome visiting artists Jamele Wright Sr. and Allison Koch. Great to have you both here.
Thank you so much.
So Jamele, tell us a little bit more about your art.
I generally make textile work. I do abstraction, but I use textile work using kind of like an African fabric, also known as Dutch wax cloth, and then I typically paint on top of that and then put it into a shape, draping it onto the wall.
I've seen that, and it just, there's multiple colors and textures and a lot of movement to this fabric. So how did you happen upon that as kind of your medium to express your subject?
I wanted to discuss this, this idea of the in-between, the complex relationship of African Americans in America, and that using that African fabric, that Dutch wax cloth, displayed that. And then painting on top of it is adding my pattern on top of that pattern, and then draping it is showing that it works together.
Yeah, I like the philosophy. It's profound for one thing. Obviously it has deep meaning for you. Was the African American experience something that you've always wanted to express in your art? Is it something you've always expressed in your art?
Yes. I mean, you can't really help it, can't really go around it. That is my experience. So by using the African American experience and the African diaspora experience, and then being in love with hip hop, using spray paint on top of it, and using these different patterns as like sampling, and then sewing those together and then draping it, really is talking about how all of us kind of work together. So although it's an African experience, it's an African American experience.
Very nice. And let's talk about Allison. You started Sardine Press, which is a very clever name, but tell us a little bit more about you and your partner and what Sardine Press is.
So Lee and I got together. She had this dream of starting a tiny printmaking studio in Winnebago, and I've known her since, she's a bit younger than I am, but I've known her since she was a college student, and I was the technician at CFC. And for 5 years, I watched her still want to do this dream of, have a RV print studio. So I was like, all right, let's get together and do this project. And we had a few holdups. 2020 kind of made the whole let's work in a mini space just a dream crush. But we still have the RV. It's still in our back pocket. We still have the whole floor out. Yeah. But right now at the Gibbes, what we're doing is working on collaborative work. So not just this kind of little company printmaking press shop we wanted, but our own artwork together. So that's kind of, we're getting to branch out and kind of come together that way.
When you think about creating art, you think of needing some space, some place to breathe. But at Winnebago, it seems like that's
very small.
Yes, it's squeezing the process.
Once you rip out a lot of the furniture, you're like, hey, this is not, not such a bad floor plan. Yeah. So.
And tell me more about the subject matter of your prints. I had the pleasure of watching a video of you two working together, and the way in which you create that artwork. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, so within the house of printmaking, there's so many different, forms and medias. There's relief printmaking and monoprints, and there's crazy lithography, which is complicated. But what Lee and I do, and what you saw in the video, is kind of put together two of these things that we can do with what we have, the press we have. She's working on relief prints. So she'll carve away and create this image of usually forms grasping and clutching things and kind of very contorted, frustrated forms. And then I will work over that with a monoprint, which is a different kind of printmaking, but it's something that I can overlay on top of her relief print.
So you two do different things that come together to create one piece of art. Have you ever done that, Jamele? Is that something that as an artist, is it easy to collaborate with another artist, or is it?
Yeah, it's just finding that space, right? Yeah. And it's finding the space between one person and another and where they connect. I think that's what they've done very beautifully, is being able to find where those two connect.
The hard part is both being happy with what you
Are you
made.
Yeah. As an artist, I mean, are you truly satisfied with pieces? When do you know that the piece is done? Let's start with you, Allison.
Oh, it's very hard to tell when something's done. Sometimes you just reach a point where you know, if I work any further, I will destroy this, either from frustration or because I can't take it any further.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I will leave something and I won't like it, and a year later I'll look at it and be like, you know what, I was finished and it's okay and it looks good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How about for you, Jamele?
I like that tipping point. I like that point where, like you said, where it's just like if I push it any further, it may fall off. So I like bringing the viewer to that space where they're right at the edge, where they feel like that emotional component to it.
Now, this is your first time coming to the Gibbes,
yes,
and being a visiting artist. So,
yes,
what does that impact on you as an artist?
Well, it's a lot of energy, right? I mean, it's a lot of history. I mean, the museum being open from 1937 to now, the changes that have happened within Charleston. You know, as an artist, you really work towards finding what are those narratives, what are those ideas. So I've been spending a lot of time at the Avery Research Center here. I've been using a lot of their relationships, and then using relationships from the Gibbes itself, and really just trying to learn about Charleston and learn about the people of Charleston, and just learning those southern. I mean, I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, but I live in Atlanta. I've been there for 30 years.
Wow.
And just learning a wider view of this Southern experience. And I've learned so much since I've been here.
Well, we're so lucky to have you.
I'm lucky to be here.
You're going to be featured until June 12th, both of you. So we're going to encourage all our viewers to go down to the Gibbes Museum of Art and check out these works. They're going to be here through June 12th. Thank you so much for coming to our studio.
Well, thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. We're back after this.